A nurse working the night shift in a children's hospital walked into a patient's room at 2 in the morning and froze. Someone was standing beside the sick child's bed. A young man in casual clothes, radiating light, speaking softly to the unconscious boy. The nurse blinked, thinking exhaustion was playing tricks on her mind. When she looked again, the figure was gone. But the child who had been dying was sitting up, completely healed, asking for his mother. What happened that night in Seattle has sparked conversations across the Catholic world. St. CarloAcutis appeared to a dying child and healed him instantly. But this is not the first appearance. Reports are coming from hospitals, homes, and churches around the globe. People are seeing this young saint, and every appearance brings healing, hope, and undeniable proof that heaven is real and saints are actively working among us. If you have ever doubted whether heaven exists or whether saints can truly help us, do not click away. Hit that like button right now, share this with everyone you know, and subscribe to our channel, because what you are about to hear will shatter your doubts and prove that the supernatural world is far more real than most people realize. The Seattle incident happened 6 weeks ago. 8-year-old Daniel Martinez had been fighting leukemia for 3 years. He had endured multiple rounds of chemotherapy, a bone marrow transplant, and countless hospital stays. But the cancer kept returning, more aggressive each time. His medical team had exhausted all treatment options. They told Daniel's parents there was nothing more they could do. Daniel's mother, Rosa, never left his bedside. She prayed constantly, begging God for a miracle. She had heard about St. CarloAcutis from a friend and began asking for his intercession. She placed a small image of Carlo on Daniel's bedside table and prayed to him every hour, day and night. On Tuesday night, Daniel's condition deteriorated rapidly. His breathing became labored. His fever spiked. The monitors showed his systems were shutting down. The medical staff increased his pain medication to keep him comfortable. They told Rosa it would not be much longer. Her son was dying, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Rosa sat beside Daniel's bed, holding his hand, crying silent tears. She looked at the image of St. Carlo and whispered one more desperate prayer. "Carlo, if you are real, if heaven is real, if any of this matters, please do not let my baby die. Please come and help him, please." At 2:15 in the morning, night nurse Jennifer Adams entered Daniel's room to check his vital signs. What she saw stopped her in her tracks and would change her life forever. Write in the comments if you have ever felt a supernatural presence that you could not explain. Share what happened. These experiences matter because they remind us that the spiritual world is real and active. Jennifer describes what she saw with precise detail. A young man appearing to be 15 or 16 years old was standing beside Daniel's bed. He wore a hoodie and jeans, casual modern clothing. But something about him was different. The room seemed brighter when he was there, not from any lamp or medical equipment, but from him. He radiated a soft light that filled the entire space. The young man was leaning over Daniel, his hand on the boy's forehead, speaking softly. Jennifer could not make out the words, but the tone was gentle, comforting, like a brother reassuring a younger sibling. Daniel, who had been unconscious for hours, appeared to be listening, his face peaceful. Jennifer stood frozen in the doorway, her mind trying to process what she was seeing. How had someone gotten into the room? Why had the security cameras not alerted anyone? Who was this person touching her patient? She opened her mouth to call for security, but before she could speak, the young man turned and looked directly at her. His eyes, Jennifer says, were unlike anything she had ever seen, full of love, peace, and something she describes as knowing everything about me and loving me anyway. He smiled at her, a gentle smile that communicated reassurance without words. Then he simply was not there anymore. He did not walk out. He did not fade away. One moment he was present, the next moment the room was empty except for Jennifer, Rosa sleeping in the chair, and Daniel in the bed. But Daniel was different. His eyes were open. He was looking around the room with clear, focused awareness. The labored breathing had stopped. The fever was gone. He saw Jennifer and spoke clearly. "The boy was here. He said I am going to be okay. He said Jesus sent him to make me better." Jennifer rushed to check Daniel's vital signs, her hands shaking. Everything had normalized, heart rate steady, oxygen levels perfect, temperature normal. She paged the attending physician immediately, stammering that something impossible had just occurred. Dr. Sarah Kim arrived expecting to find Daniel in crisis. Instead, she found him sitting up, talking, asking for water. She examined him thoroughly, checking every system, running every test she could think of. The child who should have been dying was exhibiting no signs of active cancer. His blood work showed improvements that should have taken weeks or months, not minutes. But here is what makes this appearance of St. Carlo so significant and why it is spreading through Catholic communities like wildfire. When Jennifer saw the image of St. Carlo on Daniel's bedside table later that morning, she gasped. That was the young man she had seen in the room. Same face, same gentle expression, same casual modern style. She had never heard of Carlo before. She had no idea who this saint was or why his image was in the room. But she recognized him instantly as the person she had seen standing beside Daniel's bed. Jennifer, who had not been to church in 15 years, went to Mass that Sunday. She could not stop thinking about what she had witnessed. She needed to understand what had happened. She needed to know if heaven was really as real as what she had experienced in that hospital room. If this testimony is gripping your attention, share this video immediately. Someone needs to hear that heaven is real and saints are actively helping us. Subscribe with notifications on because you need to hear about the other appearances that are being reported. Daniel's recovery continued at a pace that baffled his medical team. Within 3 days, he was discharged from the hospital. Within a week, he was playing with friends. Within 2 weeks, his scans showed no detectable cancer. His oncologist documented the case as a complete and unexplained remission. She could offer no medical reason for what had occurred. But Daniel's story is not unique. Reports of St. Carlo appearing to people are coming from around the world. Each appearance follows similar patterns. A young man in modern clothing, an aura of light or peace, immediate healing or intervention, recognition afterward when people see Carlo's image. A teenager in Brazil named Lucas was planning to end his life. He had written goodbye letters and was standing on a bridge in the middle of the night. He says a young man appeared beside him wearing a hoodie and simply said, "Jesus has plans for you. Do not do this." The young man talked with Lucas for what felt like hours, though later Lucas realized only minutes had passed. When Lucas returned home and told his mother what happened, she showed him an image of St. Carlo. Lucas began crying. "That is him, that is who saved me." A woman in Poland named Katarzyna was in a car accident that should have been fatal. She describes time slowing down and seeing a teenage boy appear in the passenger seat, reaching over to hold the steering wheel. Her car came to rest safely against a barrier while vehicles around her were destroyed. When she later learned about St. Carlo and saw his image, she recognized him immediately as the boy who had appeared in her car. A priest in India was being attacked by a mob that opposed Christianity in his village. He describes a young man stepping between him and his attackers, facing them calmly. The mob stopped, confused and dispersed. When the priest thanked the young man, he simply smiled and said, "Tell people about Jesus in the Eucharist." Then he was gone. The priest later identified the young man as St. CarloAcutis. These appearances are happening to people of all ages, in all circumstances, across every continent. But they share common threads that reveal important truths about Carlo's mission from heaven. Write in the comments if you have experienced something you believe was supernatural intervention. Tell us what happened. These testimonies strengthen faith and help others understand that the spiritual world is real and active in our lives. Father Michael Torres, a priest and theologian who has studied reports of Carlo's appearances, identifies several patterns that appear consistently. First, Carlo appears most often to people in desperate situations, life-threatening illness, suicidal crisis, violent danger, moments when human help is insufficient and divine intervention is needed. Second, Carlo appears as he was in life, a young teenager in modern clothing. He does not appear in robes or medieval garments like traditional saints. He looks like someone you might meet at school or church youth group. This accessibility makes him particularly effective at reaching young people who struggle to relate to historical saints. Third, Carlo's appearances always lead people to Jesus and the Eucharist. He does not draw attention to himself. He points people toward what he loved most in life, Jesus truly present in the Blessed Sacrament. Every person who reports seeing Carlo describes feeling drawn to attend Mass and receive communion afterward. Fourth, the appearances produce lasting conversion, not just temporary emotion. Jennifer, the nurse, returned to practicing her Catholic faith. Lucas, the suicidal teenager, entered seminary and is studying for priesthood. Katarzyna became a daily Mass attendee. The priest in India started a Eucharistic adoration ministry. The appearances transform lives permanently. These patterns suggest that Carlo's appearances are not random, but purposeful. He is continuing from heaven the mission he lived on earth, bringing people to encounter Jesus in the Eucharist. A grandmother in Mexico named Elena had been praying for her grandson, who had left the church and was involved in drugs and crime. She prayed to St. Carlo every day for 6 months with no visible results. Then one night, her grandson showed up at her door crying. He said a teenage boy had appeared to him during a drug deal and told him, "Your grandmother is praying for you. Jesus loves you. Stop destroying yourself." The grandson described the boy in detail. When Elena showed him Carlo's image, he confirmed that was who had appeared. The grandson entered rehabilitation the next day. He is clean and sober today, attends Mass regularly, and credits St. Carlo with saving his life. What makes these appearances especially significant is that they are happening to people who have never heard of Carlo. They cannot be dismissed as religious imagination or wishful thinking. These people have no prior knowledge of who Carlo is or what he looks like, yet they describe him accurately and recognize him immediately when shown his image. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, a psychologist who has interviewed several people who report seeing St. Carlo, notes that their descriptions are remarkably consistent. They use similar words to describe his presence: peaceful, loving, knowing, gentle. They report similar effects: immediate healing, resolution of crisis, spiritual awakening. They report similar effects: immediate healing, resolution of crisis, spiritual awakening. They share similar outcomes: return to faith, commitment to Eucharistic devotion, transformation of life. Dr. Hayes, who is not Catholic, says she cannot explain these experiences through conventional psychology. The consistency across cultures, ages, and circumstances suggests something real is occurring that transcends normal psychological phenomena. Please share this video right away if these testimonies are impacting you. And make sure you are subscribed because the appearances continue and the stories keep coming. A young mother in Canada named Michelle was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis after her third child was born. She was experiencing delusions and hearing voices telling her to harm her baby. She was hospitalized and separated from her children. In her darkest moment, sitting in a psychiatric ward, she says St. Carlo appeared to her. She describes him sitting beside her bed, speaking with calm authority. He told her that the voices were not real, that Jesus loved her, that she would recover and return to her children. He stayed with her, she says, until she felt peace replacing the chaos in her mind. When she told her psychiatrist about the young man's visit, security checked the records. No one had entered her locked room. Michelle showed dramatic improvement from that night forward. Within 2 weeks, she was released. Within a month, she was home with her children. Within 3 months, she was completely stable. Her psychiatrist documented her recovery as the fastest he had seen for such a severe case. Michelle carries an image of St. Carlo everywhere and tells everyone about the young saint who saved her mind and her family. These appearances of St. Carlo are providing something the modern world desperately needs: tangible evidence that the supernatural realm is real. In an age of skepticism, materialism, and doubt, people are encountering a saint who bridges heaven and earth, who appears in our world to help us, who proves that death is not the end and heaven is not just wishful thinking. Father Torres notes that Carlo's appearances follow a pattern similar to Marian apparitions, but with a distinctly modern character. Mary appears to call people to prayer and conversion. Carlo appears to call people specifically to the Eucharist and to demonstrate that young people can achieve extraordinary holiness. A college student in California named Brandon was failing out of school. addicted to video games and pornography, isolated and depressed. He says Carlo appeared to him in his dorm room one night and simply said, "You are wasting the life God gave you. There is so much more." Brandon describes feeling Carlo's presence for about 5 minutes, during which he experienced both conviction about his sin and hope for redemption. Brandon deleted all his games that night. He sought out campus ministry the next day. He went to confession for the first time in years. He completely transformed his life. When he later saw Carlo's image at a Catholic event, he broke down crying, "That is him. That is who came to my room. That is who saved me." The appearances are not limited to Catholics. Several Protestant Christians have reported seeing Carlo and later converting to Catholicism after learning about his devotion to the Eucharist. A Baptist pastor in Tennessee describes Carlo appearing to him and saying, "Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist. Come and see." That pastor is now in RCIA, preparing to enter the Catholic Church. An atheist doctor in Australia was treating a dying Catholic patient when she says she saw Carlo standing beside the bed. She was shaken by the experience and began researching who this young man might be. Her investigation led her to question her atheism and eventually to conversion. She was baptized Catholic last year and now shares her testimony of how seeing St. Carlo changed her life. Write in the comments if you want St. Carlo to appear to you or someone you love. Ask him to make his presence known. These prayers matter because they express faith in the reality of heaven and the communion of saints. Let me share the prayer that people are using when they ask St. Carlo to make his presence known. This is not a prayer demanding visions or supernatural experiences. It is a humble request for whatever grace or intervention God chooses to provide through Carlo's intercession. Prayer for St. Carlo's intercession and presence. St. CarloAcutis, you who walk among us from your place in heaven, I ask for your powerful intercession in my life. You appear to those who desperately need help. You bring healing, hope, and the presence of Jesus to people in their darkest moments. I am asking you to be present in my situation. Whether I see you or simply feel your intercession, please help me. Bring my desperate needs before Jesus. Ask him to intervene in ways that will prove heaven is real and God's love is active in our world. If it is God's will, make your presence known to me in whatever way will most strengthen my faith. If not through appearance, then through undeniable signs that my prayers are being heard and answered. Lead me to Jesus in the Eucharist as you lead everyone who encounters you. St. Carlo, you understand modern life because you lived it. You know the struggles we face, the doubts that plague us, the darkness that threatens to overwhelm us. Be my brother, my friend, my advocate in heaven. Stand beside me as you stood beside Daniel and Lucas and all the others. Prove to me that heaven is real. Show me that death is not the end. Help me believe that saints are actively loving us and helping us. Transform my life as you have transformed so many others. I trust in your intercession. I believe that you hear this prayer. I know that you care about my situation. Come to my aid, St. Carlo. Make your presence known. Lead me to Jesus. Amen. This prayer acknowledges that not everyone will see Carlo, but all can experience his intercession. The appearances are gifts of grace, not guaranteed outcomes. What is guaranteed is that Carlo hears every prayer and brings every petition to Jesus with love and power. A woman in South Africa named Thandiwe had been praying this prayer for 2 weeks with no dramatic experience. She did not see Carlo. She did not experience any supernatural vision, but she noticed that opportunities to attend Mass kept presenting themselves. Her schedule rearranged in unexpected ways. People invited her to church. Transportation became available when it had been impossible before. Thandiwe realized that Carlo was answering her prayer by leading her to the Eucharist, just as he did in every reported appearance. She began attending daily Mass. Within months, her life was transformed. She says she did not need to see Carlo to know he was present and active in her life. This testimony reminds us that Carlo's intercession works whether we experience visions or not. The appearances are signs that strengthen faith, but the real miracle is what Carlo does for every person who asks for his help. He leads them to Jesus in the Eucharist. The reports of Carlo's appearances continue coming from around the world. A child in Japan, a prisoner in Kenya, a refugee in Germany, an elderly person in Argentina. Each story unique, but sharing common elements. Each appearance bringing healing and hope. Each encounter proving that heaven is real and saints are actively working among us. Father Torres is collecting these testimonies and submitting them to church authorities. While the church does not require belief in any apparition or private revelation, these experiences are strengthening faith in communities worldwide. People are returning to Mass. Conversions are multiplying. Devotion to the Eucharist is deepening. These fruits suggest that something genuine is occurring through Carlo's intercession. Your experience could be next. Your desperate prayer could be the one Carlo responds to with his presence. Your life could be the next testimony of how this young saint appeared and transformed everything. Heaven is real. Saints are active. Miracles are happening. Carlo is appearing to those who need him most. May Saint CarloAcutis make his presence known in your life in whatever way will most strengthen your faith and draw you to Jesus. May you experience proof that heaven is real and that saints love us and help us. May your life be transformed by encountering the supernatural reality that this young saint embodies. Please write in the comments your prayer asking Saint Carlo to intercede in your life. Share what you need. Tell us your struggles. Our community will join you in prayer, and Carlo will hear every petition. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss testimonies about Saint CarloAcutis and the miracles continuing through his intercession. Share this video with everyone, especially those who doubt whether heaven is real or whether supernatural intervention is possible. Start praying to Saint Carlo today. Ask him to make his presence known in your life. Trust that he hears you and cares about you. Believe that heaven is real and saints are actively helping us. Your encounter with the supernatural may be just one prayer away. Go in peace, knowing that Saint CarloAcutis walks among us, bringing healing and hope from heaven. Your vision, your miracle, your proof that heaven is real could come today. Keep praying, keep believing, keep watching for the signs that God's love is active and saints are interceding powerfully for all who ask. Heaven is real. Saint Carlo proves it every time he appears. Your life could be next. Your testimony could be the one that brings countless others to faith. Pray with confidence, trust with certainty, watch with hope. Carlo is listening, and heaven is closer than you think.